Ask yourself these questions right now. Am I admirable? Am I respectable? So recently I was in an event that's really important to me with a lot of ultra successful, brilliant minds in the room, and they were talking a lot about business. There was a lot of cool business guest speakers. We had breakout sessions, but one of the topics that I brought up as one of my main concerns was really my family life and some of the dynamics of my relationships with both my children and my spouse, and balancing time and all of the things that play into having a fantastic family life. And one of the things that really popped out to me was one of the guys said, "Hey man, I feel like you have a really definitive business plan, like in terms of what you want to accomplish with every one of your companies, what it's going to take, building the team to get there, what skills you need. But when it comes to your family life, which I can tell is just as important to you, what kind of plan do you have in place? What are you doing with a business plan or a family plan for that?" And it was an awesome question because I kind of just like sat back in my chair and realized that I really don't have a plan for my family. I really don't have a family plan that's going to get me exactly what I want out of those relationships. And so I went home and I started just kind of asking myself simple questions. And some of these questions I'm just going to rattle off because I think they're going to be good questions for potentially you guys to ask yourself. One of the first questions that I asked myself was, is my relationship and my marriage an example of what I want my boys and girls, my sons and daughters, to experience for themselves? And when you think through that, it makes you immediately go to the places that you know you don't want your sons or your daughters to experience that. And so it jumps out at you, and immediately you realize and you learn that you have to cut those out, because the examples that we're setting in our marriage and our relationship are absolutely going to be passed down. They're going to be adopted in a lot of cases by our sons and our daughters. They're going to take those into their relationships in the future. And so ask yourself, is your marriage, is your relationship an example of what you want your children to experience in theirs? The next question that I had to ask myself was, are my daily habits what I want my sons and daughters to have when they grow up? And again, those weaknesses, those soft spots, they just jumped out at me right away, because I know that there's a formula for success in habits for people to get the most out of their self-confidence, to get the most out of their health, most out of their businesses, most out of their relationships. There's definitive habits that everybody knows are going to help them to be and achieve those things. And am I an example of what those habits should be? Because our children, again, are absolutely going to model those habits based on what we've provided for them. I also ask myself, is my ambition and my vision what I want to pass on to my children? Is it exemplary of what I want them to have in terms of passion and vision and motivation and ambition? Look, if it's not, then you need to work on it. For me, that was some of the strength that I had, that I realized, okay, I'm doing some things right, I'm checking the boxes, because we don't want this inventory of ourselves to just be a beat-up session on ourselves. We need to be able to say, hey, we're doing some things right, in our family life, for our children, for our relationship. And so make sure you're recognizing the things that you're doing well as well, but take an inventory of the things that you're not doing well as part of putting together this family plan. Next, do I speak in a manner that I want my boys and girls to emulate or to seek in a partner of theirs in the future? Do I communicate to my wife and to my children in the way that I want them to look for? Because the data actually 100% supports this, that the way that you communicate with not only your spouse or your boyfriend and girlfriend, your partner, but the way you communicate with your children is not only the way they will communicate with their future partners or children, but it's also what they'll seek out of that partner. And that, to me, it was a little bit scary because I know that I have a long ways to go in that, and I want to make some major changes because I don't want my children to be comfortable with some of the ways that I communicate and be looking for that in a partner. In turn, what I really do want to be for them is I want to be positive. I want to absolutely be someone that people just love to be around and to be grateful and be inspirational and be somebody that they trust, that they can have real, authentic conversations with. One thing that I look to my parents for, and one thing that they gave me that was amazing, was that they always believed in me, but two, I always knew that their love was absolutely unconditional. It wasn't conditioned on my grades, my work ethic, my religious beliefs. It wasn't conditioned on my success level, none of that. My parents always proved to me that their love was unconditional, and that's something that we need to give to both our partners and our children and the relationships that we care about around us, because when people know that you truly care and that your love is unconditional, they're not going to be afraid to have those authentic conversations, which are going to accelerate relationships for you. So at the end of the day, you want to be able to give that to people so that you can get that from them. And then at that point, the relationships really progress and accelerate. So ask yourself these questions, take the inventory, develop a family plan so that when you ask yourself these questions, am I admirable? Am I respectable? That the answers can be yes, and that you can feel great about where you're going and that you're on track with a family plan that matches your business plans. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you found value in it, please share it with those that you care about. And if you want to see more of this stuff, please subscribe.